basically you rewrite your story. Today I felt amazing. No matter how you feel, you write your story how you want to experience it. It takes some practice and it takes some time. Be persistent, because I promise you eventually you will get there. If you're persistent, you'll get there.
What's up, guys? We are on podcast 66, and the title for this one is Unleashing Inner Wisdom Through Awakening. And I have a special guest on, Lynna Teer, who has gone through her awakening process as well back in somewhere around March of 2019. And since that, she's been spiritually coaching others along the way. She's written a blog. She's gotten over, her past, which she'll go into that. But anyways, great things have happened since her awakening. And you even said that going through an awakening is so profound that it's impossible not to share.
Exactly.
Okay. So if it's impossible not to share, I would love for you to share it here.
All right. So I should probably start a little bit prior to my awakening, because I'm a completely different person now than I was. I'm 52 now, and I dealt with anxiety and depression for about 47 years, as well as...
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. 47 years.
Yeah, from about the age of 5 until I was about 47, right? Just about 2 years prior to my awakening, when I found the law of attraction, I started changing my mindset then, right, through affirmations, and I stopped identifying with someone who dealt with anxiety and depression. Not using those words was very powerful, because our words create. So I stopped saying I am anxious, or I'm depressed, I'm this, I'm that. So that was pretty important prior to my awakening. But
okay, so let me just recap that. So before you even got out of your depression or anxiety, you started practicing positive mindsets, techniques such as not saying that you have anxiety and depression.
Yeah, exactly.
You did that before. Okay.
Yeah, right around 2017, when I came across the law of attraction teachings, right? Because this is a journey. We find things along the journey that will help us at any given moment in time based on where we're at. So yeah, I came across law of attraction. I thought, great, I can manifest my way out of this. So I started using affirmations, started changing my mindset around like victimhood, because I was a victim of abuse as well growing up, and started changing my mindset around anxiety and depression. So that was very, very helpful. At that time, things like energy, astrology, I heard about things like that, and it didn't resonate with me. I have changed my outlook on everything and how everything is connected now. But it's been a very long journey. And for those of us who are old souls, right, many of us are very old souls. I'm aware of over 800 lifetimes at this point in my journey. So I have details on maybe upwards of 20 of them. Getting details on 800 different lifetimes.
And how did you get these details?
Through meditation. Some of it's come through meditation. Some, not as many, has come through dreams. And then I also started doing coaching myself with a psychic medium for psychic development because my spiritual gifts are starting to come online. So she's able to do healing, like go into the Akashic records, do help with healing from past lives, stuff that carries over that may create limitations in this lifetime, right? Because we go through each lifetime, right? Lifetime after lifetime for the sole purpose of having certain experiences, and a vast array of experiences so that we can overcome them. We can break patterns, right? And then eventually we get to the lifetime that our soul has chosen to awaken in. This is that lifetime for me, and probably that lifetime for you, right? Since you've had your awakening experience.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the awakening first. So let's talk about that. You said March 2019, and by the way, that's about a year before I had mine, so I think that's pretty cool in March.
Oh, do you want me to talk about it specifically?
Yeah.
All right. Have you ever heard of Have you ever heard of Neville Goddard?
I don't think so.
Okay. So Neville Goddard, they call him the mystic of 48th Street. So he was born, when was he born? In I want to say like 1948 or something like that. I should know this by heart because I've been studying this material for since my awakening. So I came across an individual on YouTube who was talking about manifestation. This was just prior to my awakening. And I was kind of getting away from law of attraction, but I was still curious about manifestation. And this gentleman mentioned Neville Goddard. And the information resonated with me. And I started listening to Neville's lectures. Now, Neville talks about his experiences with awakening and how his experiences correlated with the Bible, the stories in the Bible. That would be a whole other episode because the Bible, I've had a lot of experiences and dreams and stuff that correlate with scripture, right? The Bible is the story of the unfolding of awakening. The Old Testament,
right,
unawakened man, the New Testament, awakened man. So anyway, the first time I heard Neville's lectures, it was difficult to listen to because he was older and the way of speaking was just different, right, than we're used to hearing now. But then the second time, I had read his lectures and then I listened to one of them. It has the information about the Bible and awakening man resonated so deeply. I literally felt it in the core of my stomach. And I knew at that moment, without a doubt, the experiences he was sharing and the stories in the Bible were true. Like I had zero doubt. And then I started diving into his lectures, and then I had an awakening it was in March 2019. I remember I started having these interesting dreams and stuff, and I started hearing wind at night. It would go through one ear, like I'd be asleep and I could feel it would go through one ear and then it would go out. But this was going on for a couple of years. This went, and I now realize it was the spirit. So if you go back to scripture, when they're all in the room and the spirit comes upon them and they start speaking in tongues. But anyway, it took me a long time to figure out what that was. So I was having these weird dreams. I was waking up consistently at like 3 a.m. for a couple of months. And then this one night in March, I woke up, I looked at the clock and it said 11:11. And in that moment, I just knew I wasn't sure what, but I was like, okay, there's something here. Something's trying to tell me something. And then it just snowballed from there. Weird dreams, waking up consistently at the same time every morning. I started hearing, like getting information, channeled information. Um, I started, I began to realize that the ringing in my ears that I had heard, that I was having, and anytime I heard audible voices, that was actually clairaudience. And that my guides, which are really just aspects of ourselves, right, multidimensionally, were speaking to me. So again, it just kind of snowballed, and then weird things, I'm sure you probably know, just strange things start happening, and you're like, it's so profound. You can't really explain it, on one hand, to certain people, but then you can't deny it either. And I always say, you can know something, right? You can come across knowledge. People can tell you things, and you can know that thing, but you only really truly know something through experience. And then you can't deny it.
Yep. So true. So true. So after these mystical experiences were happening, what happened to you? Like physically, mentally, spiritually? How did you change?
Oh my goodness. My mindset shifted. Well, I'm definitely have not been in like a victim mindset since that time. Not been in a poverty mindset since that time. The What else? I mean, I've manifested like thousands of things because in my
Such as?
uh the big things were my house, like against all odds. All odds.
Okay.
I was self-employed at the time. My credit score was like shot. The night before I was supposed to close on my house, I was supposed to go into closing with no money down. The night before, I got a text message that says, there was a change. You need to go into closing with like $2,000 tomorrow at like 8 a.m. This was 7 at night. I was like, how am I supposed to do that? Right? I knew enough about manifesting and visualizing at that time. And this was August of 2019. So not too long after my awakening. I closed my eyes and I was like, I have been visualizing and manifesting this home. This home is mine. I don't care what they say. This home is mine. And the owners had given me the keys that evening prior to closing. So I was actually in the house, sleeping on the floor. All I had was a pillow and a blanket. But I knew that the house was mine. So I closed my eyes and I visualized and I repeated after myself, I am, I am, I am. And I just got into a meditative state. And within like 2 hours, I got a text message back that says everything's taken care of. You're going into closing, no problems. And I ended up getting that $2,000 back. I've manifested, things like my car and relationship. I'm in a twin flame relationship, actually, like a true one. There's a lot of misinformation out there, but mine is true twin flame, mirrored soul, because I've seen that journey in meditation. So the relationship, and lots of synchronicities, right? When you become aware of things, you see your manifestations everywhere. And like a couple of examples, and I was playing around with manifesting after my awakening. I briefly closed my eyes one time and I saw this green apple. I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't thinking, oh, I want to see a green apple. I closed my eyes and I just saw it in my mind's eye. The next day I went into work and my coworker had a green apple on his desk. I didn't notice it for like a couple of hours. And then when I did notice it, I was like, oh, I just saw that in my mind's eye last night. I'd been working in the office with him for a couple of years. He never brought in apples, right? When I went into closing at the couple days before I went into closing for my house, I was shopping for singing bowls. I walked into the office on the day of closing and there was a singing bowl on the counter. I was like, oh, those little things that a lot of people focus on the big things and then they miss all the little things within their awareness. Like,
that's a good point.
in the television shows you watch, the conversations, your manifestations are everywhere because you are creating everything.
And that's proof that there's more to the story than just what's in front of our eyes, right?
Yeah.
And what's on our mind.
Yeah.
And that helps pull us away from depression and anxiety, right? Just knowing that there's this possibility out there.
Yeah, exactly. It really kind of, when you become aware, it can boost your self-confidence too, right? Because when you first start the journey and you realize you're the creative power, and then you own the fact that, yeah, all the bad stuff, all the good stuff, all the co-creative stuff happening in the world, that's your creation. Because prior to incarnating, we create soul contracts. We create the scenario so that we have those experiences so that we can learn from them and then make choices in any given moment. Do I want to continue experiencing this or now that I understand that I'm the creative power, do I want to choose in this moment to choose something different? Do I want to step into a higher state of consciousness and shift into a different timeline? It's an ongoing process, like daily, every moment at a time, you're shifting your states.
Every moment is a choice that we get to make.
Exactly. Every moment of time. Yep.
Yeah. So true. So you talked about a lot of stuff happening in dreams. What do you feel is the meaning behind dreams? Like some people say, well, I had this dream, but they don't really look into it too much. Some people do. Some people say they don't have too many dreams. Like what's your perspective on what's behind dreaming?
Well, it is multidimensional, just like we are. So in dreams, and they can be different things. So sometimes you can have dreams that are simply a culmination of things happening within your third dimensional reality that have been impressed upon your subconscious. Now, people in your dreams don't necessarily represent those actual people in your life because we technically are everyone and everyone is us, right? Everything is a projection. So a lot of people, I think, get kind of hung up thinking that what they experience in a dream is like matter of fact, and it's not. So for me, a lot of times my dreams, I'll have them in a series of 3, and then I'll be able to connect the 3. They'll be similar but slightly different. And then anytime I've noticed something happen, like the next day or a couple days later or even a week later, that correlated with my dream, it doesn't happen in the exact order that the dream happens. So sometimes it's just what we're experiencing and have impressed upon our subconscious, but it gets jumbled in our dream state. A lot of times, and this has happened a lot of times for me, I receive messages in dreams through symbolism. I have kept track of my dreams for 4 years now. I'm actually about to come out with a book, hopefully by the end of the year next year, just on dreams. Sort of like if you've ever heard of Carl Jung, or Jung, however you pronounce it.
Yep.
He did a book on
Carl
dreams. Jung. Yeah, so similar to that.
Yeah.
Where I've had dreams that correlate with scripture. For instance, when Moses went up to Mount Sinai. So I had a dream similar to that. I was in a cave, and there was a group of people shouting about the I, so I am basically. And I heard this loud booming voice say, I am, right? And then this I appeared in the cave. Beautiful. I've had a lot of really symbolic dreams like that. And dreams that show patterns over a period of time, like with snakes, right? Which represent the spirit. Lions representing power. I've had a series of, so for the snake dreams, lion dreams, like I've had a series of 3 dreams and 1 vision on snakes.
What was the vision?
And then on lions. So, I'd have to go back and look at my notes. Like, let me see if I can remember. I'd have to go back and look.
No
everything's
worries.
on my. I actually write about everything on my blog and my YouTube channel. So if anybody's curious, they can go to my YouTube channel. I have a playlist on mystical dreams, and then my blog.
Yeah, and tell everyone how they can find you.
My YouTube channel, it's just Lynna Teer, and then my website too, Lynna Teer. And then
Great.
my actual blog, so it would be Lynna Teer, The Journey of Awakening. Yeah. So everything's just under my name.
Okay.
And then also, we travel to different dimensions, different astral planes and stuff in our dream state.
Mm-hmm.
So with me, understanding now, and you too, right? When you awaken, our light, we're here to assist humanity, to help heal humanity. Our light alone is enough, really. But
And what does that mean? Can you break that down differently?
Our souls choosing to awaken in this lifetime, right? There's a purpose for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's to assist humanity, right? Because we've done the work through all these different lifetimes. And the work in this lifetime, many of us have gone through trauma, turmoil, right? Hard lives, especially as old souls.
Well, you said, 47 years of anxiety and depression, right?
Yeah. And then lots of years of abuse and stuff.
And now it's pretty much gone?
No, it's all gone.
Like, it's all gone. You're 100% cleared up of that. Wow.
Yeah.
Because I still feel like I have a little bit of residue in me,
Well, we all,
here and there. Not as.
Yeah. We're always going to have, well, not always, but the journey basically never really ends, right? So we're consistently being refined, right? As our bodies shift into this crystalline form, basically more light coming in.
So you feel like your body's totally different in these past 4 years?
I feel more ascension symptoms, or I'm aware of the ascension symptoms in my body now. So now I feel the energy in my body. A lot of times in my feet and my hands, like I can physically feel the energy in my hands now. So I'm about to take Reiki in July, not necessarily to become a practitioner, I might, but just so I understand how to deal with the energy more. Yeah, I'm very sensitive to certain sounds. Like I was in a Reiki session a couple months ago, and I'm laying on the table, and my hand, there were sound bowls, a sound bath playing, and my left hand automatically elevated off the table and stayed there for like an hour. I don't know how many inches, but the practitioner had to come, put her hands around my hand and lower my hand because it was involuntarily. So I'm really sensitive to energy. So going back to the dream state, when we get to a certain place on our our journey where we understand our dreams and stuff more, we can kind of figure out, okay, in this dream, it was a message, or this dream, it's telling me this is what's going on in my subconscious. And maybe I need to, kind of pay attention. Maybe something's worrying me or whatever. But then we also do work on the astral plane, right? When we awaken. So I've actually found myself doing work in the dream state where I'm either being taught or I'm teaching, right? Because when we get to this point of awakening, again, we're here to assist humanity. We're doing work in the dream state. Sometimes, especially around the eclipse or new moon and stuff, or like portal days, weird stuff starts happening. I don't sleep much, and I get a lot of different visions and stuff. And I feel like I'm transmuting energy. There was this one time I had this vision of a woman. She was hooked up to she was in the hospital. I don't know who she was, but she was hooked up to oxygen. She had, those little things they stick through the nose. And the only thing I knew to do was just, okay, send healing energy and light to this individual. And as I was seeing this vision, I felt pain in my left shoulder. So I was like, okay, I don't know who this person is, why this is happening, but I was like, okay, I said healing energy to this individual, just love and light. The vision went away and the pain in my shoulder went away.
Wow.
So the work happens in vision, it happens in dreams, right? There are a lot of different things that happen in the dream state. And in the dream state, we're also traveling. Hold on. I had my antivirus thing popped up. As we travel through dimensions and the different astral planes, some of that stuff can be very intense and overwhelming, which is why a lot of people don't remember their dreams. I don't always remember mine because
that's why, huh?
Because some of that stuff may be too intense, or we're not ready to fully understand it yet. So
we can't bring it back.
Yeah, we're still learning. Things are still going on, but we're not ready to understand it. Or again, it's just too intense, right? So we may not remember it at that time. And then past life stuff comes up in our dreams. So we can remember bits and pieces of past lives in our dreams. So you see, dreams are not one-dimensional. It's not this or that. They're not easily understood. And a lot of the dream interpretation material that's out there is inaccurate. I'm not saying the interpretations I've done are fully accurate. I try not to research too much. I wait until I get the information comes through. But yeah, it's not, dreams aren't one-dimensional and not not easily understood.
I fully believe in all of this, and there's been plenty of dreams where I've actually been getting taught something or teaching myself. So it's great that you said that, because I feel like I have been getting some of that stuff. I mean, this is all great. This is all great stuff.
Can I ask?
Let's.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you write your dreams down?
Absolutely.
You do?
I don't. And I even read a book. I forgot what it was called. And in the book, it was like, it's so important to write your dreams down to connect the dots.
Yeah, if you can get to a point where you...
Okay, maybe this is it. This is my goal, to write my dreams down. Go ahead, you were saying?
Yeah, because over time, you'll be able to see the patterns, and you may begin remembering your past lives and understand your purpose more. I mean, we have a purpose, like we're teaching or whatever, but then our soul has a purpose as well. And our dreams and the patterns and dreams can help us understand that. So I highly recommend. If you can,
Okay, I'm
I
going to
would,
do it.
yeah.
I'm going to do it.
And I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Okay,
That's so important.
what's that?
I didn't mean to interrupt what you were going to continue to ask me, but the dream thing, because I've had so much experience
Yeah.
with it, it's so like it's
It's so
unbelievably
important.
profound. Yeah.
Okay, and that's actually a good way to lead into my next question, which is, okay, let's say I'm listening to this podcast, like I believe some of this stuff, but honestly, I don't even like I'm so depressed and I got so much stuff going on in my life that like I'm always just anxious and worried and all that. Like I don't care. Like where do I start? Like where do I start? I want to start today. What advice would you give someone like that?
Get very clear on how you want to experience your life. That's the number one thing. How do you want to experience your life? How do I want to show up as somebody who is anxious or depressed or, you know, in victim mode or dealing with, poverty or, people in my life not treating me well? The first thing is to get very clear on how you want to experience life, how you would
Okay,
like other people to show up for you, how you want to show up in the world. I think that's very important.
got it.
Beginning the healing journey. Um,
Okay, so I write that down. This is how I want my life to be. Then
yeah,
what?
yeah. Um, and there's a way to do it too, because back when I was kind of in the throes of all of that, I would journal, but I would journal how my day went in that state of consciousness I was in, like feeling anxious or whatever. So you want to write as your future self, right? Not the past, not the present. Well, like right in the present, but as your future self. So you wouldn't say today, you know, um, I felt anxious or whatever. You would basically you rewrite your story. To today, I felt amazing. No matter how you feel, you write your story how you want to experience it. It takes some practice and it takes some time. Be persistent because I promise you eventually you will get there. If you're persistent, you'll get there. And
Got it.
the reason I know that is because um that stuff doesn't even that stuff doesn't even cross my mind anymore. Like I'm not that person anymore. My past really
Hmm.
my past really isn't even my past anymore. It's crazy how scripting, when you script and stuff like that and you change your story, you can revise your past. You really become a new person.
Okay, so number one is get clear on what experience you want to have in this life. And number two is journal as that future self, write as that future being, practice being that future being, act like that future being, right?
Yeah. Yes. And it's easier said than done, right? Because when you're experiencing negative things and you're working on creating a new story or manifesting new things, you're seeing the old and the new simultaneously, right? Because you are, um, the phrase in the Bible is, you cannot serve two masters. You cannot think of being, you cannot be rich if you're constantly worried about how much money is in your bank account. You cannot be healthy and thriving if you're constantly focusing on, oh, I don't feel well today. You cannot serve two masters. And you cannot pour old wine, that old state of consciousness, those old beliefs and assumptions into new wineskins. You are the new you. So
Yep.
as you're working through that process and you slip back into those old thoughts, right? Because they're going to come up, you just be persistent. No, this is not who I am. And you you consistently shift your thoughts. And
Hmm.
you may have to do it a lot, but you consistently do that until eventually your natural state of being, your natural state of consciousness is not, oh, I feel anxious today. It's like all of a sudden you're like, where did that feeling go? Because that's no longer me, right? You end up embodying a new state of consciousness. You become
Yeah.
basically a new person.
So number 3, do not serve two masters.
Right.
Pick one and work hard to steer that way. And that's so true. I mean, I talk about all the time practicing positive self-talk. I mean, we have so many thoughts, 70,000 thoughts a day. So it's up to us how we want our life to go, where we want our life to go. Our thoughts create everything in front of us. That's manifestation. We're manifesting everything. Everything in front of us is our creation through our thoughts
Yeah.
and actions.
Yep.
So good stuff.
Thoughts aren't. So you get to a point too. I've got to a point where I can recognize when the thoughts aren't my own, right? Because we're connected to everything.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes a thought will come in and it's like, where did that come from? That doesn't resonate with me. That's not, why is that coming up? But I think that,
And that's someone else's thought.
yeah, you're picking up on something else. So when we're manifesting, right? And you're manifesting like a new job or, a partner or whatever into your life, others pick up on those thoughts because everything's connected. Everything is an aspect of us, right? And we're an aspect of everything else. So, others pick up on thoughts. Oh, I need to reach out to this person. It's like, and
Right.
nothing's random, right? So when as happens a lot, people randomly think about somebody and all of a sudden they get a call or a text. They picked up on that thought thinking it was their own. So
Yeah.
sometimes when thoughts come in, they're not necessarily our own. So discernment becomes very important too. And then you pick, oh, this thought doesn't resonate with me. That's not mine. Or, or you're like, you may get this thought that's like, oh, maybe you should turn left instead of, turning right, and you turn left and, you run into somebody you haven't seen for 10 years or whatever, right? So this whole practice, eventually you become very aware of your thoughts and you become more discerning of your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so important to, hang around the right people, because
Yeah.
you're picking up obviously the thoughts that you're surrounded by,
Yeah.
right? So you know of any techniques besides just discernment, how to not allow other people's thoughts to come into our bodies?
Well,
Is that
that's
where
not,
like meditation?
yeah, meditation is great. For it took me it took me several months to be able to meditate where I wasn't inundated with thoughts. Now I can meditate sometimes and I literally have zero thoughts. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah,
For
like
how long?
zero. I've been in 20-30 minutes.
20,
It's
30
usually about
minutes.
the average because, yeah, it's usually about the average. But it takes practice. Yeah.
So what would you tell someone who doesn't meditate but wants to start and can't sit still for 2 minutes?
Try guided. Okay. Couple things you can do. And this works for me a lot too, time wise, sometimes I'll just sit for a few minutes and I'll do short meditation or I'll daydream. I'll literally sit and just like stare off into the distance at a wall or something and, um, and just get relaxed or whatever. And I'll get into a feeling, because what happens when I do that, I end up in my heart space, and it just is really good, kind of peaceful feeling. You can meditate for few seconds, couple minutes, right? Think about something positive in your life, right? Or focus on like just getting into your heart space and like peace or something, and it could just be a couple of minutes or a few seconds even. It gets easier over time. I would also recommend guided meditations. I started with guided meditations on YouTube. I used Jason Stevenson, he's on YouTube, and Rising Higher Meditations. I don't do guided meditations anymore, really, unless I'm going into the Akashic Records or like doing a past life regression. I can do that without meditation, but sometimes I use guided meditation. That can help because then you're focused on what the individual is saying, which kind of helps with all the thoughts you're being inundated with, right? Because you're focusing on, on somebody's voice.
Got it. So stare at a wall and just think of something positive. You can start there or start with guided meditation.
Yeah.
But just like anything, you got to practice and do it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we're at about 40 minutes here. So we're actually going to be back for another podcast on your podcast channel, right?
Yep. Tomorrow.
Yes. And what is the name of your podcast?
The Mindset and Manifesting Podcast.
The Mindset and Manifesting Podcast.
Yeah. So
and Lynna.
And I'll interview you tomorrow, and that episode will come out on Sunday, whatever Sunday, the 18th. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be out. You're going to be out before this is going to be out.
Oh, maybe I should
That's okay. We'll
have to coordinate.
No, I don't think it's going to matter. It's not going to matter.
No.
Well, this was amazing. I mean, we talked about a lot of good stuff that I'm really passionate about because, I mean, once you start this process of awakening, which is ultimately just remembering who you really are and how powerful you are and the gift that you're given in this life, it just makes life easier and more enjoyable and more peaceful. And I love to hear other people's stories because, when you hear other people's stories, you see that this is possible for everyone. And we are, as a human species, awakening to a greater earth, and it's happening. So, if you don't like where your life is right now, that's okay. Just get clear. Just get clear on where you want to go and have faith and trust because, it is a magical place out there. Yeah. So anything else you want to add?
I'm passionate about helping people step into that power, right? And looking out into the 3D reality and accepting only the things that they want to experience and being able to work on letting all else go.
Very good. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Lynna, thanks again for coming on, and we'll be on your podcast soon, and we'll talk soon as well. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Take care.